to a private. I wasn't planning to post this on YouTube. I'm just trying to test this process out for the future meetings, the libp2p biweekly. So give me just a second. Okay. Okay, let's just see how this goes. I just want to see if at the end of the meeting I can get the YouTube live stream saved without having to re-upload it. So anyway, this will just be an experiment, but it's not. This isn't. Well, actually, I guess this is public on YouTube, but I don't think anyone but us is going to watch it. I just want Matt Joyner in Australia. Yeah, Aiden.
Visa seems to be having trouble not getting onto the call. He's in the the IRC being like, where'd everyone go?
Okay, wait, hold on. I switched the link like 15 minutes ago, so let me just say in IRC, hey, Visa. Okay, I guess I messed up the invite by changing it. It's weird. Maybe he copied it to his calendar because it seems like the invite seems right to me, but.
Yeah, the invite is fine for me as well. I think something weird must have happened.
Yeah, I think, okay. Maybe he copied it to his calendar or something. Okay, well, anyway, hey, Viso, sorry about that, man. I switched the link at the last minute to test our live streaming capabilities for next libp2p all hands. So you're live on YouTube. I doubt anyone is watching this, but you're live on YouTube. The reason I want to record this is for Matt Joyner in Australia, because these morning meetings are like always the middle of the night for him. So we got to get better about making recordings, at least like internally. Is that feedback or is that my feedback or somebody playing music?
I'm playing music, sorry.
Oh, okay, no, it's fine, it's fine. Sorry, I thought I couldn't hear the music well. I thought it might be feedback from the live stream. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do it, guys. Here, I'll share my screen. One sec. Okay, so here's what I wanted to do. So this was my thinking on this call. I think that JS libp2p is in good shape. Like OKR seemed pretty clear to me. Overall project, I think this is what I think we should do as a theme for the year is like try to grow the user base to 1 million users. This is the goal suggested by Juan and David. Obviously is ambitious, but I think it's like I feel like it's the right direction for us to go. So as we think about these, the actual like engineering work items, we should keep in mind that our goal is to kind of grow the user base for libp2p. So, but the purpose of this call though was to talk about Go. Since I've talked to people individually, I'll just run through this really quickly and then we just start open discussion. Basically on DHG 2.0, most of this came out of me and John Heisey discussing, so let's see, yeah, John's on this call. I guess Steven's not, that's unfortunate. But yeah, me and John discussing this with information that had been fed into the process by Steven, as well as John's own thoughts. So I'll let him talk more about that. multi-stream 2.0. I think Steven's going to do this in Q1. We think it's high priority because once, well, just as libp2p gains more and more adopters, it's going to get harder to change these really fundamental things like how the connection handshake works. So Steven's thinking is like, let's try to do this as soon as possible. The Swarm host refactor, I think is something we should talk about. Is that, should that be a goal for Q1? And has all these things like service brokering and I don't know. I put dialer update under there, although I don't know if that's quite the right place to categorize it. So let's talk more about that one. Testing in the daemon. This is like continuing the test, you know, get to 50,000 nodes. We actually put the 50,000 node thing on the overall project tab because it's cross language, but each language is going to have to do some additional work to get to that point. And JS also has this reflected, I think. And then 5 was like, this is for you, Visa, like the testing or whatever that needs to be done on relay nodes. And then I have another bucket called other. It's just like, what else, you know, should we do the go mod stuff? Yeah, Martin must have added quick, yeah. And then what's 7? Who added 7?
I added that as a placeholder for Martin.
Do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, there have been discussions in the Ethereum community, and especially with Ethereum 2.0. Some of the people there, particularly Pegasus, is wanting to implement a BLS, a very fast BLS aggregation, signature aggregation scheme that relies on UDP. Unfortunately, we don't support UDP, and our APIs are not even message oriented, so we haven't that's on the roadmap. It's a different topic, but for now, we're advising them to be an early adopter of Quick. So yeah, everything that is necessary to make Quick finally deployable in the wild, I guess, would be, you know, my ask for Martin.
Okay, yeah. I think Martin also, because he's in Asia, so basically he can't join this either, but yeah, so we should.
Yeah, and that's Martin also said in one issue that there is a really nice extension that's coming through in Quick and the Quick community for unreliable UDP-like semantics on top of Quick. So it kind of goes like back up to Quick and down to like the UDP semantics for unreliable messages. And this would be pretty interesting to like use or implement in libp2p kind of like as a test bed for that you know, emerging technology.
Yeah, there are definitely some issues open for packet protocols. And I think it would be, yeah, I think if like, it definitely seems like something we could prioritize sooner rather than later.
Yeah, maybe there's like a larger goal here that we could start looking at, which is packet oriented communication in general, right? And there are some small steps that that I know that somebody, I can't remember whom, had created a multigram protocol for negotiating protocols over UDP and stuff like that. So there is some, you know, some, I guess, offshoots for this, but yeah, basically a larger goal would be welcome here.
You think we should change 7 to the title is something like a libp2p supports packet switching? I'm just gonna, we can undo, but something like this. I mean, this is a huge like item. I don't know can we do it in Q1, but
yeah. So the items that I added there were not necessarily geared towards packet switching.
Okay, so maybe yeah, we could do another section.
Yeah. Add another section that will reconsolidate whatever, yeah, as we see fit.
Okay. I mean, what do people think about this overall? Like, any reactions on? Honestly, to me, this seems like a lot of stuff for Q1, but I don't know. What do people think? You're all in the doc, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I don't. I don't know what it accomplishes.
I had a question about this stuff, which is I think it's two things. One is as part of the trying to get adopters in, as someone who's like been crashing your calls a lot, but a little external to libp2p. One thing that's I think interesting is I think focusing on like what's going to make it easy for developers to get moving in something that is libp2p friendly and works with like both the Go side and the JS side of things. And I'm not sure whether it's external to this, how you guys generally handle this, whether it's internal to these things or externally, but how the interoperability of like what do we want to do and when do we want to roll it out in both sets of clients as opposed to just one, like effectively what's the libp2p spec instead of what's the Go libp2p or the JS libp2p spec.
Yeah, this is a huge topic. I was going to try to address this a little bit on in kind of introducing things on the call on Friday, but basically there's like two parallel processes that are going on right now. One is this longer term road mapping thing where I think we probably, after this quarter, I think we want to stop having this division by languages and try to focus on overall project goals. But in the meantime, we need to deliver Q1 OKRs, like so that people know what we're doing. So my proposal was that we just use the old process that we've been using in the past of dividing ourselves by language and identifying work items that we're going to do in each language. And then we'll have this team week in Porto in January, which if you're particularly interested, you can join. I didn't invite you because you're not normally on the team, but I mean, we'd love to have like people who want to use libp2p also come talk to us. But anyway, we can talk about that later. So then I thought, okay, basically we'll use the old process to just get some goals for Q1 so that people know what to do, at 9 a.m. on January 2. And then we'll try to shake things up and align better with the roadmap and finalize that in January. So that's what you're seeing kind of. So yeah, but there's a lot of issues around. So if you go to the overall project tab, there's a lot of stuff around document. So the first issue with more downstream users is we need to document things better. There's a huge, this is like the number one ask we hear from everyone is about documentation. And then we also have, these collaborative items where some of these are specs, which is another facet of documentation we need to improve, as well as the large scale testing. So that's kind of, I think the stuff you're asking about is kind of on the project level tab. If anyone's missing the link to this document, I'll paste it in the chat. Oops. But just on Go itself, I mean, any reactions on this?
Yeah, one small reaction. So I think we should have some higher priority on the auto relay deployment, since that's a major feature that we're putting out. I mean, it's more on the IPFS side, but it's also libp2p. So I don't know, probably should have it a higher priority.
Okay, I moved it up to P0. Yeah, everything was P4 by default because of copy paste. But yeah, I also agree. Do you think it's phrased the way it's phrased right now? Relay nodes are deployed and tested in the wild. Does that really capture what you want to do, Visa, or is it more like?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So we should say auto relay nodes are deployed and tested in the wild. But yeah.
It would be cool if the daemon was in a place where it was like the de facto way of deploying auto relay and like DHT nodes, stuff like that.
We're almost there with that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, where's Mondas? He started doing something with relay options. So once this has been added, then we can start.
I think that's actually ready for review, so it should be good.
Okay, cool.
So Cole, do you think I should add something here on 31 that captures what you're talking about? Or
maybe just a note that like DHT and relay nodes are run via the libp2p daemon.
okay, well,
And it could be an opportunity too for us to like run a couple in JavaScript and a couple in Go and try and just collect metrics on them to like see what the long-term health is like. But
this feels like a different item to me though than the 3 that are there. So can I say like DHT and
we talked? I think in lab week we talked about specialized libp2p nodes in the sense that you could run in a very easy manner a DHT booster, or you could run a relay node and so on. This would be it, right? It's kind of like
exactly
this special node in a simple binary that you can just run.
I shared my screen again. Do you agree with what I've written here, Colin Rowell, in that box?
Yep. It's really kind of just a detail, I guess, that the idea that it would leverage the daemon, but I think it's just a good way of like dog fooding and keeping that like as like a project that's actually getting use, because it's like very generally useful, and running it in environments like this will force us to make it more usable and more stable and stuff like that.
What do you think I should do about priorities on this objective 4? They're just, again, they're P4 by default, not because I chose that.
I think that would be if running auto relay nodes is a P0, that should be a P0 as well. Okay.
And then I think testing overall is still a high priority. So should I make this like P1 or something?
I'd say like interop and integration test is definitely a P0. Undialable nodes is probably the lowest priority, and then cluster would be the second. So like, yeah, that like roughly looks good to me.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So we've covered 4 and 5. We've talked a little bit about the 2 7s, 7 and 8. Hey, John, do you want to talk a little bit about DHT? Because we had this long conversation yesterday, but I don't know that anyone else is aware of it.
Yeah. So this is just what I've been talking to Stephen about. I mean, mostly inspired by his goals originally, but I think we mostly agree on this. So we want a DHT that is, we want to split it up into smaller components that are easier to change individually than what we have now. And we also want to get some, so that's sort of for the larger goal later of experimenting with the lookup algorithms and such to see how we can make it more robust. So that's sort of the most important goal, and then there's sort of along with that is the other sort of top level thing is making the privacy better. But I'm not sure that the privacy features that we're proposing is necessarily that high of priority, because it's only a very partial solution, and I don't know what the actual priority ought to be on that. Essentially, it means you can have nodes that are hidden, but only up to the point that a DHT node could keep track, in principle, of someone's identity. It doesn't do anything like, we haven't proposed anything like Tor for now, at least.
Okay, so maybe the privacy row we keep as a low priority,
Relatively, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. P3 is pretty, P4 means this is not going to happen. P3 is like, there's like a 10% chance it'll happen. Okay, so, but on Steven's original refactor issue, I mean, is it fair to say that this is like sort of a starting point from which we have to do this first, or do you think we have to do this one first? Sorry, it's not top aligned, but the refactor.
I would say those maybe should be combined. At this point, I think it's poorly, the distinction between like rows 6 and 8 are not very well defined. Maybe I need to define that better.
I mean, we could just put row 6 into row 8. I just moved the stuff out to the notes here, but
yeah,
we could just put row 6 into row 8, and then it's not its own.
I think that would work, and then that would certainly be the highest priority.
So make this P0, and then I'll drop my clipboard.
And that's sort of more the DHT GitHub issue is sort of the high-level goal of what we're trying to get, and then these other entries are kind of how we'd actually achieve that, I would say.
Maybe I'll do something like this. Okay. Yeah, sorry the spacing or whatever messed up. Let's not worry about that right now. Okay, so is this?
It's fine.
So is it fair to say this is the main thing you expect to work on in Q1, like this this row? What is 8 now? Yeah.
Yeah, that seems accurate to me. Okay. And like something useful to work on.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna delete these rows. We should talk to Matt Joyner though about what, like, I think he can contribute a lot here. Yeah, we can't talk to him right now, but I think that if it's possible to break up what is now row 5 into multiple things, like I think he could own some of those. And
okay. Oh, I'm sure we can definitely break this up. I should probably work on breaking this up.
Okay, maybe you could. Maybe you can. Can you try to tackle that as thing?
Sure.
Thing? Okay. I'm just gonna assign it to you.
Okay.
Sorry, it's like all these Zoom windows. I can't see what's going on. And it's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can usually get anacrolics on the. You can talk to them after like 4 p.m. or something Pacific. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Steven's gonna do number 2. I'll double check with him, but I'm pretty sure he'll do it. I don't know what to say about Swarm Host Refactor. Steven thinks we should do this step by step, but I don't know how to break it down. And Viso, or Cole or Viso, can you explain the services thing a little bit more?
Yeah, essentially, we've been taking a look at the kind of notion of wrapping a libp2p host in services. Essentially, the DHT does this, and it's not particularly composable. So services are kind of leveraging dependency injection to create a more composable service environment where services can actually interact with each other and depend on each other. And you don't just wind up having to keep track of like a bunch of objects that wrap a host. So we have had kind of 2 or 3 discussions about like what that would look like. I think where we left it off was, I think Viso, correct me here if I'm wrong, but you seemed like you were interested in taking like a first stab at sketching out what that would look like. We had talked about maybe forking dig, which is Uber's dependency injection library. And yeah, and that would be kind of factoring, like, I guess the nice thing is it's not, even though it's a pretty big change, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a hugely breaking one at first. Like we could theoretically move services that don't depend on other stuff over to this framework, well, piece by piece, but yeah, that's,
say that it's priority, that it's not a non-breaking change.
yeah.
Do you guys regard this as high or low or medium priority? Also, we have you as the owner, Visa, but you can object.
I'm not really sure.
It's medium priority because
Yeah.
it's something that we got to do because we have a little bit of a mess in the internals of libp2p with the host wrapping and everything. And we kind of want to be able to access the various services that we've been instantiating, like Identify and now Autonaut. And so it does have some priority, but it's not, like on the critical path because it really doesn't affect right now our external usability at all.
Okay. So I'm going to leave it as P2 with Viso as owner, and I'm going to take out these top rows. Oops, I meant to. Oh, someone else is trying. Oh, okay. No, sorry. Delete rows. Okay. I don't feel this title's really like quite honest anymore. It's not really complete. It's more like libp2p chapters. I don't know. Can anyone propose something better? libp2p completes some internal.
Like, this really relates to like core elements of libp2p, right? It's not new. It's actually the heart of libp2p. Everything that's in here. So
I think that's a good title.
I think that describes it well.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah, I was just trying to think of something. Okay. I don't know. Other yeah. Go ahead.
Thoughts. Now row 26 really doesn't fit under that heading very well.
Oh yeah.
I'm just yeah.
No, that's a good point. Maybe row 26 should actually be.
Just move it to other for now.
Okay. Well, I was going to move it to relay and net traversal. You think that's wrong?
Then it doesn't fit with the like the DHT is not related to that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, I lost the ability there.
We don't have any further goals for the daemon, right? Are we pretty much feature complete with the daemon at this point, aside from the outstanding pull requests that we have?
I think we're looking pretty good. The only thing that I would really like to add is the validator for PubSub, which is a little complicated, but we can do that. We should probably add it as an OKR.
Should I put this in here?
PubSub validator in the daemon. Yeah, just add the keyword daemon there, just to make.
And also the notifications. We need the connection notifications. These are very useful for implementing actual applications.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah. Does that fall under like extending the core protocol for the daemon? I think.
Do we have a task?
Yeah, we're gonna need to make some extensions to add both the validator and the connection notification.
Sounds good.
Actually, that's super important, right? Because like if the goal of having the daemon is that you can implement protocols in user space, then many of those protocols will be driven by connection events, right?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
If you wanted to implement total relay in user space, then you'd need to have those connection.
Yeah, let's add the connection notification for the daemon and the OKRs too.
Yeah.
Do you want it under daemon or do you want it under these core refactors?
So what I'm thinking is that maybe we can create a section for the daemon and group these 3 points related to the daemon under it.
Okay, so this number 4 was supposed to be a section for the daemon. Well, I guess I don't draw a strong distinction between testing and the daemon, but now you guys are starting to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe we should break it up.
I think there are different things. The testing heavily uses the daemon, but the daemon is an entity in itself as well.
Yeah, testing is a consumer of the daemon.
So let's try this. So okay, what here? Let's make this just libp2p is testable. Let's say go libp2p is testable. And then which things should stay in here?
Can you say go libp2p is testable in a distributed fashion or something like this?
Yeah, that's good. And then which things stay in here? 23, 24, 25, and then.
Yeah, and 26 moves over.
Okay, yeah. So, and then, okay, so then delete these. Okay. And how do you feel about, is this P2 is, oops, oh, we gotta.
Are we missing 2 items that we added previously, right? For the daemon, which were the connection notifications on the. Yeah,
it's because I put them in the wrong places. Hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I forgot where I put them. Oh yeah, here. Okay, so let's move this to. Oops. To the. Okay. And then, where was connection notifications? Oh, did I delete it or something?
Got lost in translation.
Okay, all right, we'll just try again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so.
Maybe we could just extend that to be notification support, because there are other notifications as well, and it's probably worth keeping it open.
I think this actually has quite a bit of overlap with the DHT refactor of one of the goals that Stephen has for that is being able to put DHT, custom DHT functionality in user space as well. So I think I should figure out what that's going to look like roughly.
That's interesting. Do you have like specifics for what kind of functionality would go in user space?
Not really. I'm not sure if Stephen has a particular use case in mind, or if this is more of just a high level goal. I mean, from my perspective, the goal of refactoring it is that the peer routing and content routing systems that we have now would sort of each be their own module, but potentially with the goal that would be easily extensible and we could add more later. But I don't know if that's well justified.
So what's interesting is that I don't know if there's a use case where you'd be using peer routing that is not related to peer discovery, right? Because we tend to call it routing, but in most cases it's used for discovery, right?
Right. No, peer routing is always going to be a more core thing. I think it's the content routing that is potentially more of a separate module. That's misleading. I think peer routing.
The reason why I said that is because we have created an interface for peer discovery, and potentially that part of the DHT could be encapsulated behind that interface. If you want to like break and split the DHT into several pieces,
sure.
it would be like
Is that the same as the existing peer routing interface, or is there something new?
Yeah, Viso, it's similar, right? Because we still haven't added the service or the capability.
It's rather different. I mean, basically, it offers a different interface, but it gets implemented through content routing from the DHT. So there is an adapter to turn the interface to take a content routing object and give you a discovery object.
Okay, I should look at that interface. That
I'll send you a link to the GitHub issue where that was discussed.
Thanks.
Okay. So maybe I'll just leave this here for now, but maybe you can clean this up, John, along with this one.
Sure. Sounds good.
So another thing that is not in the radar right now, but I think it might be important, is that there was a discussion about changing the DHT interface, the provider interface, to use multi-hashes instead of CIDs or even potentially strings. I don't know what's the status with that, because it kind of like ties together with CID overhaul work in IPFS. So I don't know what's the status with that, but we might as well have an item for it.
Okay. Pull that up. Okay. Is that a reasonable articulation? I think I just wrote what you said.
Yeah, that's a reasonable articulation, but we don't even know whether we actually want to do this change and whether we use multi-hashes, whether to use raw strings, because it's kind of like backwards breaking chains. It's going to be a bear to deploy this one. So I don't know. We really need Steven's input on that one, because he's the one driving for the change.
Okay.
Visa, would you be able to give me like the TLDR on why to change it to multi-hashes instead of CIDs?
There's an open issue. You can just read it there.
Okay.
So basically, the TLDR is that because they're changing the multi-base for CIDs, and the old CIDs are base 58, and they're going to change it to base 32, which is going to break the keys when they make the change. So they're going to make it so that it takes the multi-hashes directly instead of the CIDs, so that it's base independent.
Okay, thanks.
I'm just looking at what we have. Okay, so you seem pretty committed to these two, Raul. So should we just leave these as is and you'll work on those? Okay. All right. I don't know what to do about packet switching. Honestly, it's a really big endeavor. I mean, I think it's important, but are we going to really get to it in Q1?
Definitely, I don't think the goal would be to implement packet switcher or anything related to that. But I think we need to start thinking about it, and maybe we can have some goals in there that are related to like potential designs or to discussions, even if it's just to like identify, and break this further down into actionable.
I think like some design and interface sketching would be great.
Some general progress, I would say.
Yeah, I think this is important. I think this one's important too in the long term. So I like this idea that for Q1 at least we agree that we'll have some design discussion. And by
Q1 Lars should be back as well, and I think he has also been a long-time supporter of this.
Yep.
So
yeah, he's very interested in this. Yeah. So who
just assign it to him since he's not here. No, just
I'm considering that, but I hate to do that. Well, no, I think he actually would be on board for it, but I don't want to speak for him. He could come back after his vacation with a totally different mindset, so we don't know. Would anyone be willing to be an interim owner of this? I suppose I could be if no one else will do it, but does anyone want to? I can't see you guys, but I don't hear anyone volunteering. All right, here. I'll own the driving some discussion on this, and
That's cool. I would like to participate on some level, but
yeah. No, I mean everybody will participate. I think like Porto would be a good place. I did invite him to Porto. I haven't heard anything, but I'm hoping he'll come. But we can also discuss their channels as well. Okay, I guess this seems like a good list. So the only category that feels a little ambiguous or uncertain to me is the other section. I don't know what. So Raul, what do you think about Go Mod? Like, is that too massive of a refactoring to?
I think it's a P0 personally.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's definitely a P0. We shouldn't be pushing it any further. There is an interesting discussion that is taking place in the IPFS community that relates as well to Go Mod, GX, and different people are taking different positions and voicing out like different, very valid points. So I think we'll watch that for now. See, what the different opinions in PLR regarding to that. And then we'll act accordingly. I think Stebanian was also interested, and he had been sketching out a proof of concept for centralizing interfaces across all these repositories in a single one. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. And maybe you can add that there as a proof of concept, as a task within other as well. So below Go Mod refactoring in a new line.
Yeah.
Maybe a proof of concept would be like, rather than Go Mod refactoring out like in an explosive mode, I would just say kind of like a proof of concept would be the first goal.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should just edit the. Would this make more sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say refactoring, yeah, the proof of concept coherent with whatever the discussion is there, and I think the libp2p community, we should also participate in that discussion. I haven't had the bandwidth personally, but we definitely should.
Is this the discussion you're referring to, or is it separate?
Yes, yeah, that's the discussion. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Are you okay owning that? I don't know. Yeah, did you make yourself owner, or did someone else?
Yeah, I made some noise regarding that, so it's
okay.
It makes sense to just continue owning it. Yeah.
I'm very supportive of it. I hope we go in that direction. I'll read what people are saying on this issue, but
yeah.
Okay.
Change takes time.
All right. So Martin just dropped in quick goals without any.
Oh no, sorry, that was me, and it was just a placeholder.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
For us to remember to reach out to him and ask him what he thinks is for Q1, and taking into account like all the discussions with the Ethereum community as well.
I was going to ask him in a comment.
Just very briefly, what do you mean by putting the interfaces in one repo?
Oh yeah, so right now we have all each and the interfaces behind each component of libp2p. It lives in a repo of its own. And this makes it really hard for a newcomer to the project to actually, explore what the abstractions of libp2p are all about, because they're spread across a number of repos. And if you look at the history of those repos, it doesn't really, they haven't really evolved independently as much as one would have expected at the beginning, and that would have justified putting them in a separate repo, right? So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So as a kind of ideally, there has been some discussion about potentially having, putting libp2p all together into a mono repo. I don't know where that is going to be headed. This is very, initial discussion, but as a proof of concept, Stebanian wanted to at least try centralizing and grouping all the interfaces in a single repo. So that way we'll have all the abstractions in a single place, and then the different modules, the different implementations and alternative implementations for transport, for network, for DHT, and so on would still live in separate repos.
Okay, that actually sounds really nice to me from the perspective of when I was trying to learn how libp2p works, that would have been so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that as well. And the community, I would say, would strongly agree as well. At least, the community, the people that we spoke to in DEFCON 4.
Yeah, that's I definitely agree with that. Do people feel good about where we are in this?
I have a
Pretty
question.
nice.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that was all. I was just saying. I think we've got a pretty good spread. What were you going to say, Adine?
Yeah. So I wanted to know about some of these things that are not here, but that some are like on the roadmap or work is happening on them elsewhere. So one of the ones that's on the roadmap is something about like offline message queuing. And we, the Dynamic Data Capabilities Group and Stephen and some other folks spoke with the textile people. And they have their own version of some of these things. And it may be worth putting in some time, whether it's, it's someone like me or someone like slightly outside that can help you guys have a little more bandwidth, or internally that just says, let's come up with a bit of a plan here on what we want so that we can figure out how to get help from partners to increase our bandwidth. I think that one's like more apparent than the, or more obvious in a sense than the, message passing RPC kind of thing, which is just helpful to get people involved and get moving. Whereas offline message queuing is something people are already doing in a sense, or want to be doing.
Okay, I like what you're saying. Can I make you the owner of, sorry, what's your GitHub? Well,
yeah, I'll write it. My last name is too many letters.
Okay, all right, okay. I'll just say, I'll just put that even though it's probably not your GitHub name. Okay, I'm gonna make this like, I don't know, P2 is kind of a generic like middle ground.
Also, Raul mentioned earlier in the chat, rendezvous.
True. I was just asking if we want to put some gold down there for that.
Yeah.
It feels like it's frozen right now, so I would love to see that getting.
Okay, let's get some movement on that. I'm gonna restart work on the spec PR because there are a couple of things that we discussed in Scotland that I want to add. They're in the comments right now, but they need to be added to the spec.
Can I do this and make it P2 or something, or higher or lower?
P2 is fine.
Okay. Do we want to say something a little more ambitious, like an initial version of Rendezvous is implemented? Or is that?
There is an implementation in progress which corresponds to what is written in the spec right now. I'm going to have to update this one. So I don't know, up to you. But there's a bunch of work accumulating. Let's see how far it goes.
Is it too bold to say Rendezvous implementation is completed? I don't know, whatever the.
It's at least makes progress. I don't know about completed because that would take into account JavaScript as well.
Okay. Well, is completed.
Just leave it as Rendezvous implementation and nothing else.
I know it's such a weak KR though. It doesn't really state. Okay, so you want to just have it make progress, but not necessarily.
Yeah, just progress on that.
All right. Okay.
I mean, what is written in the spec right now has already been implemented. That's pretty much ready. So there are some things that I want to do to improve the client to provide a seamless interface, so that we have a stateful client and a bunch of other things. And also we need to split the service out of the random implementation to have separate repos for the service and the client itself. But this can happen after the implementation PR merges. That's something that's incidental, but we really ought to do.
Okay. I'm trying to decide whether to put what you just said in the notes or just leave it the way it is now. I think I'm just going to leave it like this. I think we should do better KRs in future quarters, but I'm not as worried about it right for Q1. I think we should just get something done. So by better KRs, I mean like really specific about what we're going to deliver or not. But I think it's okay for now.
So I was just wondering, since in 0.9 in libp2p daemon, rows 49 and 51, there really are leftovers, right? So I think they could be collapsed in a single row. Because it seems like they're too kind of small to make
They're
it
going to
as,
be separate PRs, though. I'm not going to put them on the same PR. They're two different PRs.
But that's okay if they're separate PRs. I mean, many of these things are probably going to be.
Yeah, I'm fine with calling it complete daemon. So
Yeah.
because this one would get us physical completeness for what we said we were going to do at the beginning.
Yeah.
Does the complete daemon thing include some sort of strategy for I have multiple things that use libp2p on my machine? Okay.
No, we're not addressing multi-tenancy.
This is version 2.0 because there's also another issue that there was discussion about having the host support multiple sub-hosts and multiple PIDs. This is something that we really need for the daemon because right now we don't have any mechanism for just actually implementing multi-tenancy other than implementing different libp2p hosts. At which point, there isn't much gain over using, like a single daemon per libp2p host.
Well, okay. I guess since we're coming to close to the end of the hour, is there anything that anyone wants to add or change or remove? Speak up now.
Do we have any work for Mondas as well? What is he going to be doing?
Yeah, yeah. I talked to him yesterday. Yeah, let's come back to that. I don't have an answer yet. But yeah, no, that is a good question. It's just I'm talking to him a little bit about does he want to continue with the project and stuff. So let's give him a little time to think about that. And
okay, just one thing regarding the project scope, the common tasks for the GS and the Go teams. Myself and Jacob have assigned, but I don't know if anyone from the Go team will be able to assign themselves to the tasks.
Oh, in JS, you mean?
No, in the project scope one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we divided from the GS team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there are some tasks that, although all the tasks are like cross language.
Okay, I'm sure Steven will do this one. Well, so Visa is saying he doesn't think this will be completed, but I at least make him as the owner, the Go owner. Speak up if you don't like that, Visa. But no,
that's fine. I am the owner.
Okay. Yeah, it's the same thing as the other. Okay, yeah. DHT Spec 2.0. Ooh. I don't know who. Okay, that one is a harder one. I'm not sure who's gonna take that on. Yeah, so this one, well, these are P3s. I think the Nearform guys might be able to work on the network visualization tool. They would need some input from us.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I think I was going to reach out to them about that. So let me put this as like in sort of brackets, like at Nearform question mark. I don't know, Cole. Do you wanna own the Go side of benchmark tests, or?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
It seems aligned with the stuff you already own on the other tabs. So.
Yep.
I don't know what to do about DHT Spec 2.0.
I'll take as many P3s as you can throw at me.
Yeah.
I think I can take that. Or yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty big one, but all right. Well, anyway.
Sure, I'm totally up for having help.
Okay. Well, we can leave it like this for now. Were there any other ones, Vasco, that I'm missing on?
No, that's fine. Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay. I'll reach out to the Nearform people today, and I mean, we may not have figured everything out by Thursday, but it's on my list of things to do this week anyway. So.
Right.
Cool.
I had a brief question for you got for I guess Mike and Raul, which is that if you go back to the Go tab, all of Raul's tasks are P0.
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd want some sort of sub priorities within those, so that on January 2nd it was clear what was.
Yeah, let's make some big ones because we have too many P0s.
I do think we have too many. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So let's, for me, can you make the PS Store TTL stuff a P1? That is working and it's not at the moment causing like major problems. So that could be a P1 for me. Then the POC for Go mod refactoring, I think that should be a P0. That's super important as we've discussed. Connection manager, that was already part of Q4 in a way. So I think it should stay on as a P0 here.
I think it's fine for one person to have two P0s. I just think maybe more than two is like.
Yeah, so I have P0s. I'm probably gonna be having P0s in the project tab regarding downstream implementations and native implementations as well, Python and Java. So that's my only concern. That like whatever we decide to flesh out here, I think should be a P0 at least on some level, right? Some tasks might not be, but there's gonna be at least one or two P0s there. But yeah, that looks okay to me. Thanks for bringing that up, Adine, and looking for the well-being of the people.
Yeah. I mean, now I guess I am a little concerned though, because if we think these two are both P0s, to me it feels like more work than you may be able to handle in one quarter. But I don't know.
So yeah, but these really depend on these are external collaborators. So it really depends on how much they. It's really unpredictable, where they're gonna get to, right? Because so I would say Python would be a P0 and Java would make it a P2 for now.
Okay.
So just for the record, NIM is pretty far advanced as far as I can tell.
Sorry, come again?
NIM.
NIM.
Yeah. Are they developing a NIM bindings, right? Or are they already developing the?
They were playing with PubSub here. And Cheat Fate was the one who basically ran into the serious problems with the multiple connection handling bugs.
Sweet,
so
yeah. Yeah, I've been helping. We've been in constant communication over Gitter as well, and yeah, I'm pretty happy that he didn't get slashed by the Status downscaling because he's doing some pretty good work, and Status also had a few layoffs and so on that they announced previous week. So it's great that he's still on board.
Okay, this is good. I'm glad we got this one fleshed out. Hey, it is past the hour, so maybe we should call it for this meeting.
Should we have a goal of having final priorities and descriptions by the end of the week or something?
Yeah, well, so we need to present on Thursday, so it has to be a little sooner than by the end of the week.
Let's say by the end of Wednesday.
Yeah, let's say by the end of tomorrow. I think we should. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. And maybe we can discuss. take discussion over to IRC or whatever if there's you know, more questions about what are the priorities or something like that.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. I'm going to stop the meeting.
All right.
See you, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.